And I think you're gonna need to know about these right here, which we have to talk about today.
Bird teeth diagrams.
So things like that. And then the vitamins and the minerals. So I don't know if I'm gonna make that possibly bonus. I didn't write it up yet. Sorry. I'm trying to, this is terrible. I'm trying to see with these my old glasses, but it's kind of a chore. So I'm gonna kind of look up and down from my glasses until I can get my real glasses. Okay, so let's see, where did we leave off from? Do you guys know about, before we go on, do you guys know about peristalsis up here? So let's take a look at this.
It's like the digestion.
It says on page 701, muscle action in the small intestine. Contractions of rings of muscle in the wall of the small intestine causes chyme to slosh back and forth as it progresses through this organ. So this is time, and this is showing you what happens over time. So here's the small intestine, and the tubular structure of the small intestine. The small intestine is able to, the muscle around the small intestine, the layers, they have to squeeze the chyme through. So right here, this ball of chyme is getting squeezed forward to this area. So it kind of gets squeezed forward. And then as it gets squeezed forward, it also, I guess they have arrows where they squeeze it forward and it kind of gets squeezed back a little. And then it proceeds forward by another squeeze in this direction, like this. And then, of course, it gets probably pushed back and squeezed forward again. So I guess the best way to describe peristalsis is kind of like, you know how we all have pretty much like toothpaste in a tube? And so in order to get the toothpaste out of the tube, you know how some of us like to squeeze the middle to get the toothpaste out of the tube? So some of us, like at my house, I have this thing that I put on the end of the tube, so as the tube of toothpaste loses toothpaste, because I'm using it, then I have this thing on the end that helps to hold the whatever's in the tube forward. And so if Mr. Sumi squeezes the tube wherever, then I can still take what's in the tube and kind of push it forward with that little tool thing, doodad that I buy. So anyways, that kind of helps. So anyways, just think of a tube and you have stuff in the tube and you're squishing it so it moves forward. And then the ring of muscle that makes it go forward, the muscle here kind of squeezes it again forward, but it pushes some of it back. So it's constantly doing this, squeezing, pushing forward, and then some of it leaks back a little. Then this part next will squeeze it forward, push it forward a little bit more, and then of course it kind of squishes back. So it's constantly this squeezing, pushing forward, kind of coming back a little bit, and then the next part next to it, squeezing it forward further. And so we get this peristaltic movement of the contents of the intestine forward. Part of it too that pushes it forward is not totally the muscles of the tube, it's also the musculature and the organs around our intestines. So if you guys don't notice, But when you get up in the morning, you're not really ready to do poo yet. You kind of like pee first and maybe start getting ready to get dressed. And then as you move around more, then the muscles and the organs around the intestines kind of help to push things forward with peristalsis. And then maybe after about 15-20 minutes, you feel like you have the urge to go. And then you go to the toilet and you go your bowel movement in the morning, usually. Okay, so anyways, by just moving around, it gets things going and moving in your body. And then sometimes, even though you might go before you leave home, which might be an hour before you leave from home, you might have to go again because you're moving more by that time. And so you might go again. Some people might not go till evening. Some might not go till the next day. Depends how much is in their system. And also with the movement, you also sometimes get gas pushing it forward in your digestive system. Gas accumulates inside your large intestine most of the time with bacterial metabolism of the foods and such. And so that kind of helps to push things forward as gas is let out of the system. So anyways, all that taken together helps move things through the system. Okay. Did you guys understand when we were talking about the intestine yesterday? This is a long section of the intestine. So instead of cutting across the tube like this and seeing a circle, you guys are actually seeing the tube turn sideways, cutting its length. So it's like if this was the length of your intestine, we're slicing it this way open. And then you're seeing this inside the book here. That's what your intestine looks like from the side view, long view. And then all of these folds, they are all made up of this structure here. So these finger-like structures, these are called the villi. And then these villi are made up of these structures inside of it. And then these structures are these cells called brush border cells. And then here's a picture drawing, here's the magnified drawing of the real thing at the surface of the brush border cells. These are the microvilli on top of each brush border cells. The brush border cells make up the surface of the villi. And then these villi, finger-like structures, make up the folds on the tissue of these. So we have a great amount of absorptive area for our small intestine to take in the molecules that we're breaking down from the foodstuffs that we eat. So that's why we have to have really good efficiency of the stomach and the gastric juices that are added to the stomach's contents, as well as the small intestinal fluids, digestive fluids that are added in the small intestine to degrade things even smaller so that they can pass through the villi's membranes. So really important. So this pink stuff, this is the tissue here, and these are the villi that line the tissue all over the surface. And then each of these villi look like this in detail. They're supplied with blood, see? And then each of the structures on this villus is the brush border cells that have microvilli lining their tops. and this is where we get the most absorptive area. Okay, so we should be good there. Have you guys ever seen, like when you dissected your pig in honors, if you took honors or the rat, did you ever look at the small intestine kind of sliced open, like a piece of it sliced open, and you looked at the surface under the microscope? It should have looked like a lot of little bumps all looking up at you. So that would be the tips of the villi. And then the microvilli are on the surface of that even, with the brush border cells. So it looks really like a carpet, like a really fine bumpy carpet with all the threads standing up. So, okay. 39.7, digestion and absorption in the small intestine. So what I'm going to do is I want to take a picture that I have. The book one I was trying to Xerox, but it doesn't come out very well to give you guys. It comes out too dark, I'll show you. See how it comes out too dark? Even though I try and lighten it, see? So this is the muscles in the stomach. And then this is to show you, see? They're showing you here the structures of the small intestine. So the small intestine has these rings of muscles. And then here's the gut lumen, where the food goes through. And then over here is the different circular muscles that help to squeeze the tube to make peristaltic movements. Yeah, and then all the nerves that are affected. So, okay. Have you guys ever noticed that when you get nervous and you're kind of like your foods in your intestines, they don't come out of your body or make you feel good when you're nervous? Have you noticed that when you get nervous, it kind of makes your large intestine not absorb water as well from your feces? And instead of a normal feces that exits the body, you notice that the feces is more watery. Have you noticed? Like you get kind of anxious and then you feel like, oh, your tummy's telling you a story. And then when you rush to the restroom, it's not like a regular BM, it's more like a loose BM. Kind of plays into our nervous system, you know, how it's reacting to our digestive system and how things kind of play out in that system. Yeah, kind of like when you get edgy, anxious, it kind of changes the consistency of what you're eliminating from your digestive system sometimes. At least I get like that sometimes when I get kind of, you know, like edgy or kind of like not comfortable, feel kind of uncomfortable, not calm, but kind of like on edge. And so it kind of changes the way that your digestive system reacts to your to what's happening to you. Okay, see like this, I was trying to also make a picture of your small intestine this way and to show the villi and the microvilli, but it doesn't come out very well, see? It comes out too dark, and then what happens to the copy machine in the office is it doesn't like to make dark pictures, so it kind of stops up the machine. Yeah, so I can't really give you guys good color picture Xerox black and white copies of it. It doesn't turn out very well, so I'm gonna just have to kind of like reference the page and you guys kind of follow along with what we're talking about, and then you'll have to see it in color in your books tonight. all right? Okay, so what I wanna talk about here first is, let's just kinda look at this chart about the chemical digestion. I mean, you kinda have to know in general, but not how would I know every single detail here, but in general know about them. So I'm gonna try and read this as best I can with, oh, thank you. Stephen, you for you. I said always, why are you so special? I don't know either. Maybe you won something, who knows? I don't know.
You want a trip to the Dean?
I know, I wish I could get something like, is it important? Oh, okay. I just hope you're not in trouble, that's all. But Stephen's never in trouble, right? Oh, have you called Lisa Liza? I know. That's gonna bite him in the butt before the end of the school year. You know, him saying that all year, it's gonna come back to him, watch. So, okay, so anyways, carbohydrate digestion, it happens in your mouth, stomach, small intestine, and your mouth uses salivary amylase. And then there's all of these other ones that help to break down. Amylase is the enzymes that break down sugars. So there's a pancreatic amylase and then disaccharidases. See? So basically that's protein digestion is your stomach and your small intestine. And so just kind of read through these names. I don't expect you to, know all of them. But pepsin is a biggie, trypsin. I mean, if you saw the name aminopeptidase, you probably can guess it's an enzyme that breaks down amino acids and small proteins, so things like that. And then lipid digestion is mainly in the small intestine, so the only enzyme is called lipase. And then nucleic acid digestion is the small intestine. And so we have nucleases that do this. Okay? So that's chemical digestion in the mainly small intestine, all four of them, right? Proteins in the stomach, and then mouth and stomach is carbohydrate, it starts. So that's not too bad. Okay, and then what organ in your body associated with the liver produces substances that have to help break down like lipids? Yeah, gallbladder. Do you guys know that there's substances that your liver makes called bile? And bile gets stored in the gallbladder until it's needed to be added into lipid digestion. Yeah, so we're gonna take a look at the digestion over here in the small intestine, over here in this bunch of pictures. So let's take a look at this one. I think to see it better, it's, let me show it this way in sections and then bring it to your attention. Okay, so in this picture, this is the internal environment down here, and this is the brush border cells in the small intestine's lumen. And this is the lumen where the materials pass through. So, number one, enzymes break down polysaccharides into simple sugars called monosaccharides. We know that carbohydrates become monosaccharides. And then the monosaccharides in number two, they are actively transported into the brush border cells and then out into the interstitial fluid. So it's gonna go out of the border cells brush border cells into the interstitial fluid here. Number 3, proteins, they made it green. Proteins get broken down into amino acids, we all know that. And then the amino acids in number 4 are gonna get transported into the brush border cells and then into the interstitial fluid. So it doesn't seem like carbohydrates and proteins have a very hard time taking their subunits and bringing it across for absorption into the small intestines wall. That's not bad. Okay, then let's move down further in the picture. Look how colorful that is. Okay, in this set of the pictures, number 5, movements of the intestinal wall break up fat globules into smaller droplets. And then bile salts coat the droplets. So these purple bile salts, they coat the droplets. See it? So they say it's called emulsification of the droplets. Emulsification is breaking fats into smaller globules. And then number 6. Number 6 says pancreatic enzymes digest the droplets to fatty acids and monoglycerides. So these pancreatic enzymes act on it and they break them down into free fatty acids and monoglycerides, single fats. And then 7, monoglycerides and fatty acids diffuse across the plasma membrane's lipid bilayer into the brush border cells, so they cross into the brush border cells. And in the brush border cells, number 8, the products of fat digestion form triglycerides, which associate with proteins. The resulting lipoproteins are then expelled by exocytosis into the interstitial fluid inside the villus. So proteins in the brush border cells are going to get together with triglycerides, make lipoproteins for export out of the cell. The free fatty acids and monoglycerides, they detach from the bile salts here. So bile salts become by themselves again here. Okay? So that's fat digestion and absorption. Look at this part of your book. It says each day eating and drinking puts 1 to 2 liters of fluid into your small intestine. Secretions from your stomach, accessory glands, and the interstitial lining add another 6 to 7 liters. About 80% of the water that enters the small intestine is absorbed there. Transport of salt, sugars, and amino acids across brush border cells creates an osmotic gradient. Water moves down that gradient from the chyme into the interstitial fluid. So just by eating and drinking, we are adding 1 to 2 liters of fluid to our small intestine, and then secretions from various organs and glands, we add another 6 to 7. So if we say we have 2 liters from what we eat and drink during the day, then 6 to 7 liters, we have about 8 to 9 liters of liquid in our system that we have to partially get rid of out of our bodies. So that explains why we have to pee and poop like we do every day. We can't hold in all that liquid. We have to be able to void it. Otherwise, if we can't void it, it would be pretty terrible to withhold it. People even can die if they don't void enough. So they have to be very careful. It affects your blood volume. It affects a lot of things, the health of a lot of organs in the body. So you do have to make sure you do void the toxic waste products from the body. You know, like some kids tell me, oh, Miss Sumi, I don't go to the bathroom, I hold it all day. I go, really? You at least have to go once, I would think by lunchtime. And then maybe you can hold it till you get home, but that's a really long time from getting up in the morning. Maybe pooping, you could probably hold, but who knows? Depends on what you eat every day. Yeah, I don't know. That's really pushing it. Yeah, some kids say, oh yeah, I don't like to use the restrooms at school, so I wait till I get home. And I go, really? That's really bad for your systems. It's like not good. So, oh my gosh, I hope you guys don't do that. I know. I could see if you went to my high school, but I think SG is pretty good. I don't think people would really bother one going to the restroom. I hope not. That wouldn't be too cool. Okay, the large intestine. The large intestine is the part of the intestinal system where the residues, things that your body cannot digest, passes from the small intestine to it. And things that are going to get eliminated from the blood system to the large intestine, that's where things get dumped out into that part of the intestinal system. We even send excess water there. Some of the excess water, some of the excess water in the food is taken up from it there. Majority of the fluids that the blood picks up, but mainly a lot of that goes out through the kidneys, through the urinary system. So solid food, the residues get pushed from small to the large intestine and get pushed forward till it gets eliminated, plus anything else that the body wants to solidly, eventually solidly eliminate out through the body will go through that part of the system. The large intestine will absorb, hopefully, the right amount of liquid out of the residues so that the feces that comes out of the body is of the right consistency. Not too hard, not too soft and liquidy, but just right for proper elimination out of the body. Yeah, if we don't take enough water out of our feces that are forming in the large intestine, then we get a very loose feces, which is called diarrhea. And if we take, so if we don't take enough water out, the water comes out with the feces, then you get diarrhea. If too much water is taken out of the feces, then you get a very pasty kind of feces. And it might even be past pasty, it might be very hard and dry. And that's very hard to eliminate out through that part of the digestive system. And then it plugs one up and you get what we call constipation. So constipation has to get treated. A lot of times over the counter, or hopefully not in the hospital, but you have to take what they call stool softener to help the feces kind of soften and loosen up so that you can pass it out of the body easier. Yeah. I didn't know this until I had to actually experience doing this, but whenever you go into like surgery and you kind of like have to be put under, and then you come out, and then they have to give you sometimes painkillers till you can kind of manage the pain yourself. Painkillers, when you are taking them, they constipate you. I didn't know that till, several years ago when I had to get surgery done, and my doctor said you have to take possibly some painkillers for a day or two to kind of deal with the pain that's involved with the surgery. So I didn't realize that, painkillers can make you constipated. And so that was kind of interesting. So I go, oh, yeah, I haven't gone for a day or two, no wonder. So then I said, okay, I don't want to have a problem, so stay off those meds. So even though my doctor gave me a whole bottle of meds to, have for that surgery, I really didn't take it very long, even in the hospital. The nurses come and they go, time for your pain, whatever medicine. And I go, oh, I don't want it. And they go, really? You don't need it? And I go, no, it's not that bad. And then they go, are you sure? And I said, yes. And so then 4 hours later pass, and then they come again and ask me. And I go, no, I'm okay. They go, really? If you were any other patient that's had that kind of surgery, they always want it. And I go, no, I'm trying to do without it. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. People, you guys will be surprised if you go into the medical field, people have different tolerances of pain. Even probably at your house too, right? Have you noticed that some of the family members, as soon as they just start having some kind of pain, they already want to take out the Tylenol and take something for it? And others of us kind of like let that dull pain, try other ways of dealing with it so that you don't have to take meds, right? So it's rather interesting. Yeah, even my kids that are working as RTs, they go, God, Mom, it was a bad day at the hospital. I go, why? They go, because this patient, we couldn't do enough for that patient without them complaining, So I go, yeah, people have different tolerances of pain and how fast the nurse comes and all kinds of stuff. So, hello? You have to get on paper, okay? Okay, fine. Sorry. Oh. All right, so anyways, that's what's important, like here, so. I know, I probably, half of you in this room might not go into like the engineering, you might go into medicine. You're gonna have to deal with all kinds of patients and people that help patients. They have their days too, coworkers. So you guys gotta be ready to deal with all those things when you get a job dealing with the medical field. It's rather interesting, yeah. So I try and tell my kids, even though I'm not really in the medical field, but I have to work every day and, meet and greet and deal with students and all kinds of people. Yeah, you have to be able to deal with that kind of stuff too. It's not like you're all to yourself, so it's rather interesting. So, yeah, I guess you have to have a good outlook on life and disposition all the time. Otherwise, you're going into a field that you don't want to go into. So, just be ready. Okay, let's see. The large intestine concentrates waste by actively pumping sodium ions across its wall into the internal environment. water follows by osmosis. The first part of the large intestine, the cup-shaped cecum, has a short tubular appendix projecting from it. Beyond the cecum, the colon ascends the wall of the abdominal cavity, extends across the cavity, descends, and connects to the rectum. So these pictures right here that Emily and I were looking at yesterday at tutoring, I guess your book, and they want us to call this area where the small and the large intestine meet. That's where the appendix and what's left over of our cecum exists. So the appendix is part of the short little part of the intestine, the division between the two intestines here. And then this is what troubles some people sometimes, because sometimes feces lodges in here and gets stuck, and then that's what creates partially the appendicitis problem. Okay, so and then if this ruptures, then all of the bacteria that's in your intestines can fill your abdominal cavity, and then you get the appendicitis, and then you get the infection of the cavity inside your body, which is called the coelom. And coelom getting infected will infect the organs of the body, and it could kill you. So that's why before an appendix ruptures, the doctor will like to remove it before it ruptures. We don't want it to rupture inside your body. Okay, let's see. So contraction of the smooth muscle in the colon wall mixes the colon contents and propels this material along. Compared with other gut regions, wastes move more slowly through the colon, which also has a moderate pH. These conditions favor growth of bacteria such as Escherichia coli, which is called E. coli. This species is part of our normal gut microbiota. It makes vitamin B12 that we absorb across the colon lining. So after a meal, signals from the autonomic nerves cause much of the colon to contract forcefully and propel feces to the rectum. The rectum stretches and it activates a defecation reflex to expel feces. The nervous system can override the reflex by calling for contraction of a sphincter at the anus. So the nervous system can stop the expelling of the feces if it overrides the digestive system from doing that. It controls the muscle of the anus from expelling it. Okay, and then your book talks about healthy adults defecate about once a day on the average. Stress, a diet low in fiber, minimal exercise, dehydration, and some medications can lead to constipation. When constipation, defecation occurs fewer than 3 times a week, is difficult and yields small, hard, and dry feces. Occasional constipation usually goes away on its own. A chronic problem should be discussed with the doctor. Infection by a viral, bacterial, protozoan pathogen can cause an episode of diarrhea and frequent passing of watery feces. And then appendicitis is discussed here. And some people are genetically predisposed to develop colon polyps. So if you look at this picture, they're showing you the large intestine, and then see these growths that are sticking out from the wall? They grow out of the wall. Here's the real thing. These are called polyps. And so if they discover that you have polyps in a colonoscopy, they will put an instrument in there and they will actually snip off the polyps, collect it, and send it for a biopsy to the lab. If the biopsy comes back precancerous or cancerous, then the doctor is gonna have to go back in and try and get as much as they can in there. And probably even give the person chemotherapy or some kind of therapy that will counteract the growth of these things. These things can turn into cancer. And then these things are part of what we call colon cancer. People that get colon cancer, they don't last very long. It's a area of the body that is very well supplied like blood vessels. And so cancer like this in this area can travel to different distant parts of the body without us even knowing it and starting cancers there. So some people don't survive it very long if it's caught too late. So when you guys get to like 50 years old, like your doctor or even Kaiser will send in the mail. They will actually send you this kit in the mail, and they have you take this sheet of paper that floats in the toilet for a short period of time, and then you're supposed to poop on the paper in the toilet, and then you're supposed to take this little test tube, twist it open, it's sterile, and you take the little wand that looks like there's a little screw on the end, plastic screw in, and you're supposed to take a sample of the surface of your poop. And then you take that and stick it back in the wand, back into the sample, and twist it closed, and you have to send it off to Kaiser for analysis. And then they send you back a letter a couple of weeks later to tell you if you have any signs of precancerous or cancerous cells in that sample you gave. So if you do, then you have to go in for what they call a colonoscopy. Colonoscopy, you have to completely clean your system out. So you have to drink almost a gallon of a liquid, clear liquid that has flavor. And you have, after you start drinking it, you have to start drinking it within an hour. And as soon as probably 15, 20 minutes go by, you're already running to the bathroom and it's cleaning your system out. And then you can't eat anything till after the test the next morning. So the doctor actually lies you on a table and they actually have to stick a tube up your butt through your intestinal system, the colon. And as they're doing that, pushing it in, and then as soon as they push it in as far as they need to, then they start pulling it out and they're video logging it on a computer, what they're seeing as they are examining you. So you have a fiber optic camera with that tube going up your butt, taking pictures. Yeah, they're analyzing it. Yeah, they are. And then if they see something unusual, they will take samples. Yeah, you know, I have some friends that swear they're never gonna get that test done. And I go, why would you wanna not do preventative measures to check the inside of your digestive system to make sure that it's in good health? Why would you want to bypass the test in the first place? It's to help protect you against dying early. And they go, no, I'm never going to do that test, never. And I go, you really better think about it, huh? Oh, so anyways, I go, and then after they tell me this, I go, you gotta be kidding. You're an educated person. Why would you not want to get the test done? It's to protect you from cancer. So, yeah, I know. People say, Misumi, it's the most terrible test that you can take. I've taken other tests that are worse, okay? So that's nothing. If it's gonna protect me from cancer and dying of cancer, I don't mind doing it. So if you get a clear bill of health, then they tell you, well, you got a clear bill of health, you don't have to do it for 5 or 6 years again. I wouldn't wanna do it every year, of course, but if I had to, I would. So, it's to protect you. I don't know if you guys have relatives that have died of colon cancer. Hopefully not. Hopefully they're getting tested and things get prevented this way, so. Okay, 39.9. This is the metabolism of absorbed organic compounds, so kind of like what we talked about already. They do talk about a summary of liver functions here. And so you guys should read this. Don't want to bore you. Okay, and then, of course, one of the essay questions is about the plate. And how much of the plate is for the proportions of the types of food to eat? Yes, sure. And then the nutritional label. So take a look at that. What are essential fatty acids? What are essential amino acids? Why do we need them? That's, yeah, you can't produce them and you need them to have a healthy body. Okay, and then this part, you guys, I'm not concerned about the sources, functions, all that, but if you could list, I'll make it bonus, if you could list the fat-soluble vitamins or the water-soluble vitamins or some of the minerals, then that would be bonus tomorrow, okay? So I'll make it bonus, I'll make a little thing up, and if you fill it out, get it, then you get extra points. So, just the names, yeah. If you wanna write the minerals, symbol, chemical symbol, that's fine with me, okay? So that's fine. And then BMI, I think you guys just need to know the general formula and what's appropriate for BMI to be healthy. Okay? A BMI of a certain amount makes you obese. And we don't want to be like that. So, yeah, you have to eat enough. You don't want to get anorexia or bulimia nervosa. You should scan over that so you have an idea about that. Okay, and then that's it. Look at that rat. He's overweight. Look at that. He's really pudgy. I know, but that's a rat. He looks like a hamster. That's horrible. Oh gosh. Okay. Explain the extra credit. Oh, you know these pages with the vitamins and yeah. So if I say please list 3 out of the 4 fat soluble vitamins, then you would write A, D, E, or K. 3 of them. 3. Yeah, at least 3. Okay, so if there's 9 here, at least 5 of them. See, if you learn all 9 of them, and I only want 5 of them, if you give me the extras, I might give you more points. Okay? Same with the minerals. So minerals, whatever the total is, at least half for the question. You give me the others, they'll be bonus, extra points. I'll make it bonus. Vitamins and minerals, yeah. That's bonus. You gotta get the other part of the test right too, Stephen. Okay? This should be your favorite chapter, it's food. Right? It's everybody's favorite chapter? Really?